Right, well, it's Sam, we're live. Anyway, welcome everybody. This is the Gunnerstown Pub Podcast Chat. Uh, I'm a bit breathless, really. With me this evening, we're doing alphabetical order. Is Charlie? How you doing, Charlie?
Good afternoon, good evening, guys. I shall say, yeah, I'm good, mate.
What you drinking tonight, Charlie?
A bottle of Peroni.
What a Peroni? Okay. And Mark, what you having?
A pint of vodka, mate, to try and help myself get over that shit show. Or
Yeah, my apologies. That's Mark. Yeah, one of those. I said on the last one, I don't know whether whoever was listening to the last one, I said it would be typical Arsenal to go out on the away goals rule without actually playing a home game. And it was just one of those tonight, but such a big moment, such a big goal. And yeah, let's try and go through the game from start to finish. Start with you, Charlie. I thought the first half, without looking brilliant, we kind of ran the first half, didn't we, really?
We did, but it was the same old us in a way, though, Gab. So, like, all the ball, all the possession, we got no real. I mean, I know the Bamian scored, we had one, like the Saka had one that was offside. Didn't really make the keeper work again, did we? So it's all that possession, all the bit looked good, not losing the ball. But there's no real cutting edge, if you know what I mean. Just no real sort of like having shots, having pops. Didn't really do that. But we controlled the game, and then obviously we'll talk about the goals. But it was all right in the first half.
Yeah, Mark, we'll get to the goal with you first, mate. I thought that's where I want to see Aubameyang play more. I want to see him on the shoulder, and he timed his run absolutely perfect, and the ball was perfect for our first goal. Yeah.
yeah, spot on. I mean, he couldn't have been better positioned to get away with the offside, which must have been really, really, really tight. And the slide pass through from Saka was perfect, and a great finish as well. When you think about last week, he's missed an absolute sitter, an absolute sitter that 999 times out of 1,000 he'd have finished. Must have been on his mind a little bit. So, it shows that he's got a certain amount of character, because he dinked that one over the keeper nicely. So, yeah, lovely goal. And just as Charlie says, at that point we were bossing the game, lots of ball, but it's going back to maybe the Wenger teams that we had, where we had a lot of ball players who would keep the ball, pass it around, play it around, but not too much actual final. So but we were bossing it at that point. But it's Arsenal, isn't it? We've always got the ability to do something stupid and give another team a chance to get back in a game.
Yeah, and over to you, Charlie, for that one, mate. I mean, I'm not quite sure what else he should have done there. But it was fucking stupid, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it is what it is. Get back to Bamian goal, as Mark said, unbelievable goal. And I said, Gav, to someone earlier on, an hour before the game, he owes us cut the goals tonight, Bamian, after that last week, because the game should be dead. So, as what Mark alluded, I'm so happy he sort of really put us through, really, didn't he? I mean, for his confidence, but with the goal we let in, silly free kick again, and we just the actual strike, there's nothing you could do with that, is there? Nothing at all. But hello.
Go on.
Sorry, mate, my thing keeps cutting out. Sorry.
No, it's all right, mate. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, so yeah, when we were letting that goal before half time, just deflated. You think, oh, here we go. Like, once again, we just controlled the first half without really sort of stepping up the gear. Where you think, I just think we could sort of do a little bit more decent final product at the end. We would bury games off. I mean, the Leeds game was showed that we were sort of knocking the ball about, lots of shots on time, and you go in half 3-0 up, and you just feel a lot better at ourselves. But for us, we always just allow teams to sneak back into it, don't we? And if we get a lead, we always allow them to do it. And I think that's the thing we really need to. It's a bit too late now, but towards in the summer, it's that we really need to sort of like deal with that sort of issue, address and sort of It's just very frustrating watching us because, guys, you're the same as me. You'd have seen it coming, wouldn't you? You can see he's very comfortable at half time, but we've got that in us just to fucking let one in before half time.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think I was more disappointed in the first half. Like, it's very hard, and we do have issues breaking down teams that, you know, do sit high against us and do a high press and do try and block things up. And Benfica, I thought, were very, very good at doing that. But I just didn't think there was the little spark of creativity. I weren't seeing the overlaps on both sides in the first half. And yeah, like well, we all knew it was coming, didn't we? Do you know what I mean? It was just one of those. But again, we go in at half time. It's all level, and yeah, you've got a fancy from there, Mark, haven't you? You've got a fancy us. It's all level at half time. We've had the majority of the ball, the majority of the play. You've got a fancy us from there on in, haven't you?
I don't know, Gav. This is the problem we've got in the team at the moment. I don't think that they have a great deal of self-confidence at times, and I think that goal would have really knocked them back. So, they've got to go in, they've let in, it's a corking free kick, but it's a poor free kick to give away. So they go in and having bossed most of the game, but not created a lot of clear-cut chances and that. And they've got to come out and then realise the thing is, in a game like that it only takes one stupid mistake and one goal for Benfica, and we need two. So, they're going to come out, and it means that 45 minutes is very different from the first 45, because now, you're playing a very much more a game where you have to be a little bit more risk averse. And we just didn't, we didn't seem that confident. And the longer the game went on, you could see that the problem we had was we had too many ball players and not enough players making runs. Aubameyang was the only one making runs. Very early doors, we nearly found him. Again, I think it was Ødegaard played a lovely ball through to him, and Aubameyang finished it. He was just offside. But, he was the only one making the runs. But you've got Smith Rowe, Ceballos, and you've got Ødegaard trying to do that, and Saka as well. So you're sort of thinking, you got a lot of talent there, but there's not who's actually going to finish it if there's only the one guy doing it. And it's just I think we needed to change it up. And I don't know what I'll let you have a chat about the subs and that, because some of the subs were a bit odd.
Yeah, no, I thought they were. Charlie, going on the starting lineup, I was pretty happy. I don't know how you feel about that, but as the first half went on, I just felt that Arteta's trying to literally shoehorn Smith Rowe onto the pitch now, and he's playing him in a position where it's not doing him any favours, and it's certainly not doing us any favours.
He's not as effective there, is he?
No, like I say, it's almost like everything was going down the right in the first half, and sort of nothing down the left, and it's normally the reverse.
Yeah, so, when I see the starting lineup, to be honest with you, I thought I said, I know it was 1-1 last week. I thought we controlled the game, dominated, as I said earlier on, which is probably not a good thing always, because there's no clean edge. But I wasn't surprised with the starting lineup. I was quite happy with it. My only thing I maybe would have changed was, I think Cedric's been excellent at left back position, and he's got actually a good form delivering the ball. And Bellerin, for me, defensively, I've got no issues with him. I just think Bellerin gets into that final third, and he didn't do it that much tonight because he wasn't in that much position to do so. But in previous games, his final ball into the box, sometimes it's a little bit, there's nothing on it, or it's weak. So I would like to see Cedric coming at right back, to be honest. I think he's been playing well. I think he deserves his chance. Obviously, if Tierney's fit, there's no doubt, obviously, he starts. But going into the second half, as well with the subs that Mark mentioned, I've seen on Twitter and stuff looking during the game, people are slating Arteta with some of his subs. And sometimes he does. A lot of people talk about, where's Martinelli? Which I get people want him to be that new star and come on. But when did he come on this season? And the game, I know it's very few. It hasn't really done nothing to me to light up, and I think he deserves a starting space or ahead of certain people at the minute. And Willian got criticised for coming on. To be fair, Willian set up the goal that Tierney got, and he done a few other things. I know he gets very heavily criticised, William, but tonight when he came on, he didn't do nothing wrong. He actually done all right. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I do agree
what
with
do
you
you
there.
reckon, Mark?
Right, we'll go back to the start of the second half, which, like I say, we started off with all the best intentions of the world, and they scored, Mark, from one of our fucking teammates. I mean, if there's anything more Arsenal, it was that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to the levels of communication when we are defending. That is just a long ball that is hoofed forward, and you just expect that whoever's underneath it, be they a central midfielder or a defender, they're going to get their head on it and they're going to try and knock it back the way it's come or knock it over towards the touchline wide. What you don't do is you don't try and head it back to your goalkeeper when there's a forward there. Now, if he can't see that forward, that's pretty piss poor. But to be honest, he's got to be getting a shout there. Someone has got to give him a shout to tell him away. They've got to tell him, give him some kind of help, because if he can't see him, he needs some help. And again, the nearest defender to him is Bellerin, and I just don't think that Bellerin is naturally a very good defender. I don't think he helped the situation on Sunday with Sterling's header by communicating. He's not. Don't get me wrong. He's not the only one, but he's involved in a lot of the stuff where lack of communication causes problems, and that didn't help Ceballos. But Ceballos, it was an abysmal decision for him to do that, and he must have gone and tried to dig himself a big hole in the dressing room to dive into, I should think.
Yeah, no, I would have thought so.
Just on the point of the subs, sorry, just to go back to the point that Charlie made. I know what you're saying about Willian. I think you're saying about Martinelli hasn't come on and done it. Martinelli's not getting a chance now. This is something bizarre. And I was on there a few weeks back and we spoke about the issues with Willian and the subs and that. And this is going to run and run and run. Why is he bringing Willian on? He could bring Pepe on, who's done all right when playing out on the left. He could bring Martinelli on and give him a run, because he's gonna do that. But he brings Willian on, and the problem is that Willian is not in form, and that when you need 2 goals, that's not the time to bring on the geezer that needs a bit of play to try and get his head back up. Yeah. So I think that's why people are moaning is that why doesn't Martinelli get that chance?
I do agree with you on it, man. I'm just saying, normally I'll be the first one to say, fucking what the hell was that decision about? And at the time I thought, oh, fuck, I'm odd. But I'm just saying, for me, it wasn't the right tactic at the time. But when he come on, he actually did all right for once. You know what I mean, for Pepe, Gav knows this. For Pepe, I like Pepe a lot. And even since he's played on that left, I thought he's been excellent the last few games he played on the left. And it baffled me a couple of weeks ago. Arteta said something about, Pepe really finally find a bit of form, looks good in training. And I joked on Twitter as a tweet going, that means he'll be sub Sunday now. And he was. I couldn't believe it. I was like, hang on, you just beat him up that this is his time now to shine. And he put him on the bench. And I was baffled by it.
No, I think that's one of the things that Arteta is struggling with, that he says a lot of things that then he then acts the other way. And I think that's why a lot of the fans are concerned about it, because not only does he make some odd decisions, but he comes out with stuff like that. You can guarantee, you could probably put a bet on the next time he goes, he's doing really well, this guy. Put a bet on him being on the bench next game. So yeah, it is a bit odd.
Yeah, it's like I say, I don't, because I watch the stream. I'm not sitting there on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever, or I very even rarely look at my phone whilst the game was on. But it's odds on that Willian got absolute dog's abuse on every single forum and in everybody's single minds when he came on. Obviously, we're forgetting that they then scored again on the 67th minute. Sorry, the 61st minute. Putting us basically needing 2 goals, and at that point, I'm thinking, that's it, really. You know what I mean, I don't think I just couldn't. I just weren't thinking that they actually had the bottle for the fight, and then we get the equaliser on the evening, Charlie. And it was the one player on the pitch, the one Arsenal player, who's actually got the bottle, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, Kiriche is the main, isn't he? I mean, we're a different team when he plays than when he isn't. But really, to be honest, he's leadership material. Been absolutely excellent when he's fit and he's playing for us. And we needed that right at that moment. And the finish to take as you said, to the arsehole and scrub for the net. And I said earlier on in the show about we're not shooting. Got the ball, had a shot. Do you know what I mean? Got the shot, got on target. Anything can happen. And it was a great finish. It happened. It come really at the right time. We needed that. But even after we scored that goal, the moments in that game, I'm talking to my mates on WhatsApp and stuff. And I was like, you couldn't tell here who the team was chasing the game. Do you know what I mean? We were like playing it about the back and just letting them pass it about the back. There was no real urgency for it. And as you mentioned just a minute ago, Gav, when we went 2-1 down there, you do think, fuck, we ain't got it in us here, have we? We haven't. Do you know what I mean? So, looking on a positive side of it, I mean, there's lots of negatives around Arsenal at the minute, and it does seem doom. Everyone's waiting for us to fail. But hopefully, it's a lift for the club because they have shown a bit of arsehole tonight. Being 2-1 down that situation, turn it around, getting that goal from Tierney, sit us onto whatever. Like, fair play to them, do you know what I mean? Hopefully, they fucking lift themselves now and think, cool, we can go and do this. Bit more confidence in yourself. Mark mentioned it. They look like a team devoid of any confidence. So hopefully when that Tierney goal did lift it. I mean, we did click on. And Tierney, we talk about him every week, don't we? How good he is when he does play.
Every game we talk about him. Who we haven't spoke about tonight, Mark, which I think it wasn't his greatest game, but two great assists. And you can't knock Saka, can you? Do you know what I mean? He's producing. When he's quiet, like he was tonight, he's still producing the goods, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think after the game last week, you could see already in that match they were aware of what he could do, and they were very worried about him. So I think the same thing happened this week. You know, they were very, very cognizant of the fact that he's our main man at the moment. You know, he's a 19-year-old lad carrying the team, to be honest, a lot of the time. So yeah, I think they made it difficult for him. Again, as I say, I think, you know, if he doesn't, he's very similar in a lot of ways to the other ball players that we had playing, and I think we just had too many, and I think we needed to change one of them. I'd have taken Ceballos off at the start of the second half, and which might have been a good idea actually, given what happened, and put on Partey, because I just think we didn't have enough drive in the midfield. We just had a lot of ball players. But Saka, I mean, like, you know, the pass for the first one was superb. When he gets his chance, I mean, he had a bit of a swing at one on with about 15 left on his right foot, but you know, he's got in there and made the chance himself. So, but it was what concerned me was the point at which when he brings Lacazette on, who really came on, and I think he was on for about 15 minutes and was more or less ineffectual as far as I could tell. But he takes Bellerin off, which means then that Saka makes that drop back to right back, which I think killed our flow for a while, because, you know, it takes a little while for him to gradually start to creep back up the pitch, which, as we know, eventually, thankfully, he did.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, it was. I mean, Ceballos, even like I say, even though he ballsed up for the free kick for them and then he ballsed up for their goal, he wasn't dreadful tonight. But as you're saying, it's just more somebody who's like that. There wasn't anybody sort of, and this happens too often. And I know Mike, who's often on these podcasts, speaks about it, where players actually receiving the ball on the half turn, so they're receiving the ball in a position where they've already beaten the one man, and then they can drive on. And it seems like there's not a lot of that actually going on at the moment. So I do understand that. Like I say, I just didn't think we had any real sort of width or balance, really. But and again, Charlie, the fella from Norway, I'm still a little bit 50-50 on him. You?
Sorry, Kat, just dropped out. Who was that?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Odegaard.
Oh God, man.
I'm kind of 50-50 on what he's actually bringing to the party at the moment, if I'm
I
being
think
honest.
he does some nice through balls and stuff like that. I mean, he's nice. I mean, him and Sabas link up quite well. There's quick one-touch passing, trying to get the ball moving, but it weren't one of his best games tonight. I mean, he was a bit ineffective. But that can happen with when you play that number 10 role, which he's in, and Benfica defended so deep. They're literally playing like a back four and like defensive midfielders in front of him. There's no space for him. Do you know what I mean? As well, so that is hard. But I mean, it's hard for him because Smith Rowe was doing so well in that position, and Smith Rowe seems to be the one that's had his nose put out of joint and put out left. He's always going to get a bit of stick as well for that because people want to see Smith Rowe there. So, but I mean, you understand it also has his third game for us, or third or fourth game for us. You know what I mean, so he ain't going to come and hit the ground running straight away. But he done all right. I mean, nice little touches and passes and through balls and stuff. But you do want to see a little bit more. Same again, grab the game by the bollocks a bit and maybe sort of be a bit more attacking, force the issue. Do you know what I mean? Because Saka was one putting a force through to Aubameyang and stuff. But no, I mean, he's got to have time, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? It's new for a new league. He ain't played much this season for Real Madrid, so it's going to be difficult for him. But he didn't look out of place there, though. Do you know what I mean? He didn't cost us. He weren't someone you think, oh, get him off. He's playing rubbish.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It was just an average performance. It weren't sort of like
Yeah, I know.
you're not going to name him as one of the best players this season, but you're not going to say he was absolute toilet. But
Yeah,
I'm just sort of waiting for if he is replacing Smith Rowe, who in the middle, who had a run of about 5 or 6 games, where he was bloody brilliant.
he changed our season, didn't he? Really, let's be honest.
Yeah, one of those. It's weird. Anyways, we'll go on to the. I think the first time I jumped off my seat all blinking season, if I'm being honest, Mark. Saka's put the ball over, and again, a bang, right place, right time, nods it in. BT are looking for every single angle and their dog to try and get it called off by bar. But again, cracking goal.
Yeah, I mean, I'd sent a tweet out a few minutes before that just knocking long balls into the box for Aubameyang to fight for was pretty pointless. I still think it is, but that's what I'm talking about. It's just like knocking a long ball in and asking him to try and beat the likes of Otamendi and Vertonghen. I just don't see that happening. But the difference there is that Saka knows where Aubameyang is and he knows where to put it, and he makes that cross, so inviting. And as long as Aubameyang stays on side, which obviously he must have done just about again because it did look tight, he couldn't miss that header. It's a simply get your head on it and it's going in. It's the cross. It's beautiful, and it's Saka. It's the 19-year-old lad digging us out of trouble, and we can't keep expecting him to be doing this because and I'm talking sort of throughout the rest of the season. I mean, like he may struggle at times physically just because we're asking him to play so many games. He's not getting a rest that like some of the other lads are getting. And also then you've got to think about if he carries on playing like this, he's going to the Euros. If he goes to the Euros and then he starts next season, and this is all sort of a compressed seasons because of COVID, we really need to look after this lad because at the moment he's like one of the only bright sparks. Him and Tierney are two of the only bright sparks in the team.
Yeah, no, Phil.
He gets kicked a lot at the minute, doesn't he, Mark, in the Premier League? I mean, I see a stat that he gets behind Grealish, his most foul player in the Premier League in the last 10 weeks, I think.
Yeah, and they all know, they're all going to suss very quickly that's the way to stop him is to get close to him and just keep tapping his ankles all the time and rotate that around your team, and you'll stop Saka playing or you'll kick him out of the game so that he's got to come off. So, all of those things are going to happen. So we can't just put all our eggs in his basket. As good a player as he is and as brilliant as he will be in the future, we've got to think about not relying on him too much.
On the other thing on the goal, Gav, I just want to say mate, which obviously, as you said, I jumped up over the moon. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you're going to win a tie, that's how you want to do it in the last couple of minutes, going out in the way goals, bosh. But same again, just one of my gripes in football although we scored that goal, I've jumped up, yes, with a couple of my mates, and then straight away, oh fuck, he's onside. Like you're looking like you're waiting for VAR. And it ruins the moment a bit, doesn't it? That you think, fuck, is he off here? Like you can't really celebrate properly because you're thinking. Even when I see the replay, I thought he's miles on. Then they chipped it for that long. And you're like, fuck, they're going to fucking turn us over. They're going to turn us over. It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible watching a game like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, the good thing really, I thought the VAR decisions tonight were pretty quick, whereas they seem to be twice as quick as they are on the Premiership games. It just seemed like
I think they definitely do it better in Europe than they do in the Prem. 100%, I agree with that.
Yeah, it was quicker. Like I say, I do agree with you, mate. And for what the mistakes and the mess that VAR has actually been in this season, I don't think especially in the Premier League, I don't think there was much cause that it's actually improved the game. If anything, it's made it worse because it's actually shown that the ref can get it wrong and VAR can get it wrong, and you can still end up having an argument about a decision, even though everybody's seen it on 20 or 30 different angles, and then you can have a game the next day where it's an absolute similar incident which is called the other way by the referee and by VAR. So I just don't get it. There's VAR should be for consistency of calls by the officials, and it's just not happening that way. But anyway, we won. We're through, and there's a question at the beginning of the chat when we first logged on earlier. I'm going to whack it up now, if I can still find it. Here we go. Sean Duffy, if you're still watching and listening. Do you think Arteta should have been sacked if we'd lost tonight?
Go on, Charlie.
Well, me personally, I'd have said no. And I don't think the ball would have either. But I did say on Twitter earlier on, I think he would have been under a lot of pressure. I mean, like, just from the fans and the toxic atmosphere on Twitter and stuff. And it would have lost a lot of people if we had. I think people have been a bit upset with some of the stuff he's done this season and the way it's worked. I mean, I've still not really forgiven him for that FA Cup, giving it away. I think that was disgraceful, considering it was probably the thing last year that put him in sort of such a high esteem for Arsenal fans, regard of Arsenal fans. I don't think he would have got sacked just because of your relationship with the board, but it would have been the start of his demise, I think. And when sometimes managers get that sort of movement behind them where people want them out, it's very, very hard to get rid of it. And tonight would have been very damning for him. 2 years on the spin, losing round to 32.
Go on, Mark.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know me, Gav. Like, I'm not shy in coming forwards when it comes to criticising a manager, but no, I mean, I don't think he would or should have been sacked. I think you think about it, he's not. The club know that if we want to get into Europe next year, we've either got to do something pretty amazing over the rest of the league season to get into the top 6 places, or we've got to win the Europa League. And I don't know, performances like we've seen against a reasonably average Benfica side don't exactly fill you full of confidence when you're playing some of the other better teams in the latter stages. So I don't think he's under a great deal of pressure by the board at the moment. I would suggest he's probably got the rest of this year at the very least to see what he does, particularly with the fact that in the summer he can probably make a few more changes to the playing staff. However, it's Charlie's spot on with what he said. He would have lost a whole load more of the fans tonight if we'd have gone out. You know, you see on Twitter, I only follow like a couple of hundred people, but I see that there are people who have turned and who are not behind him, and that would have just gone a long way. Apart from the emotional side of the game tonight, it would have gone a long way as well. So, and whilst that, what really does that matter unless you actually got enough fans that are going to do something about it, which we've seen in the past. I think he'd have probably been all right for a while longer. I just think people are not prepared at the moment to give the guy to think about the fact that he's a brand new manager. He's been in the job, 15 months now? 15 months he's been a manager.
Never had a pre-season properly.
Yeah, he's in the middle of COVID pandemic. No one has ever managed him before. He's had the mess that was left behind from Wenger and to a certain extent Emery as well that he's had to sort out, and he's managed, thankfully, to get rid of some of the crap that we did have left.
Which is massive.
He's trying to implement his ideas, and he's got a load. The thing is, the guy's learning on the go. He's trying to learn as he's doing. Now, the problem I have, and I'm sure probably Charlie would say exactly the same thing, is that he's made some decisions where you think, hold on, why are you not learning? You're making mistakes here, and you're making the same mistakes. You need to be learning from these. You need to be showing that you're learning tactically about what's going on in games, what substitutions you're making and when you're making them. Things like that I think could, if he carries on the way he is, that's the things that will really, really get a lot of the less knee-jerk fans on his back. So I don't think he'd have been sacked tonight, but I think
what you've just said there, Mark,
he has to start improving.
What you said about learning, I mean, you're absolutely spot on. But I was very vocal Wenger out. I thought Emery was very unfairly dealt with in a way. I think he was on an island to nothing really. Anyone who took after that job and what Wenger left behind. But I think Arteta, he does some really good things. You think refreshing, I like that. And then he just does some other things that some games this season where he's come out afterwards and talking about crosses and when you look at the thing, you think, just shut up, mate. Like, you're talking absolute rubbish. And I'm all about defending your team and picking up from and that, but sometimes he does talk nonsense. And what we spoke about earlier on, Mark, about dropping Pepe after bigging him up, things like that. These are little things that he is new. He's an experienced manager, and he's not at a team like Man City where he has been. He's got to know in a way where at the level we're at. And I think you're right with that. It's just little things he needs to learn on. Just be a bit more honest and open sometimes as well. Like moan at referees sometimes. I know we've got the ump and that. As a manager, just rise above that. Don't look for the excuses sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, see, from my point of view, I see a lot of people from a lot of different perspectives because, I follow a lot of people due to the shop and all that. And the problem with that is, whilst they're generally decent people, they retweet and they quote tweet some absolute plums. And the problem with social media, especially Twitter at the moment, is it's almost like a race to the bottom for these Pond Life fan TV people, right? Who are all just trying to make a name for themselves by who can be the most extreme. And some of them are going to be screaming Arteta out before the actual game was even finished. And we've actually bloody won the game and gone through. So that's my problem, my issue with it is with Wenger, and I wanted him gone a long time before he went. A long time before a lot of people wanted him out either. That was a considered opinion in my behalf. I was considering the amount of people he brought through the youth team. I was considering how he spent his money. I was considering the fact that we wasn't improving. If anything, we was further away from the title each year. And to me, that was a considered opinion. People's opinion on Arteta at the moment, unfortunately, a lot of them is knee-jerk, wanting attention, and not seeing any
idiots.
Basically, they're not seeing any form of bigger picture. And like I say, I mean, George Graham came in and set the world on fire straight away, and got rid of the old players who thought they were full of themselves, which Arteta has only just done. Blooded some youngsters and brought them through together, which is what Arteta is trying to do. And I still see similarities with that. I mean, like you, Charlie, I was immensely pissed off with throwing away the FA Cup game, especially when he was rested for it and then misses the next 3 or 4 games because he hurt himself in training. So, I mean, that was complete bollocks to start with. But he's a young manager, and you've only got to listen to the interview with Pep Guardiola after the last game against Man City with what a sort of high regard he deals him in. The problem Arteta's got at the moment is his ideas and his plans. Unfortunately, he hasn't got the talent to actually get them plans done. So it is down really, and a huge summer this year for him to bring players in that he feels that can actually fulfil the roles and fulfil the jobs that he wants them to do on the pitch. So that's why I just think it's incredibly naive and almost attention-seeking backward morons look, are actually calling for Arteta to go. I honestly don't get it. You know what I mean?
Well,
I honestly don't get it.
the other thing as well, Gav, is that you sort of say, okay, well, if you sack Arteta, who are you going to give the job to? You know, who are you going to give the job to? And at the end of the day, they've got the same squad. So, you know, how much better are they going to get out of that squad? You know, they see the one thing I would say is that unfortunately the squad, you know, plus a few that we've managed to get rid of, did their utmost to get rid of Emery. You know, and they won the day there. They managed to get him sacked. Emery's got to take responsibility as well, obviously, but I think a lot of that was the squad that had it in for him. So you know, this squad looks like at least they're trying for him, and they're just having a season that is it is probably the worst season that we've had in many a year. But you just kind of we got to get on with it. You know, there's no point going too mental over things. And yeah, while I understand completely the emotional side of football, not that I buy into it quite so much now for various reasons, but I understand why during a defeat or just right after a defeat, everybody wants to have a vent and slag everyone off and that. I get that, and that's allowed. But you know, if you're going to look at it in the cold light of day and turn around and say, oh, you know, Arteta's a fraud, Arteta should be sacked and that. You know, I mean, obviously there are muppets that do it for attention and for their YouTube channels or whatever, you know, but they should be discounted because you know their opinion doesn't really matter once they're doing it for money. You know, the other people that you've got to trust is that they'll have a more respective, a more perspective on it that's a bit calmer and that, you know, and not be so knee jerk. Yes, of course he's made mistakes and he will continue to make mistakes because he's virtually still new at this job, brand new at this job. So people need to just sort of like, not, you know, and I'm not saying trust the process. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know, give the guy a bit more time. And I think he'll get the rest of this year. And obviously if he doesn't manage to improve the way the club's going by the time we get to next Christmas, then I think the club do need to sort of think about it.
He needs to be backed as well, though, Mark, doesn't he? Let's be totally honest. We know that what we need in certain areas, in certain positions, we've done the hard work getting rid of the people he doesn't want there now. So now there's no point in them fucking doing all that and then getting rid of him. He's obviously got an idea. He knows what players he wants out, what players he wants in. They've done well to get partying. It's just our luck that he's been injured as long as he has been. He's never been injured in his life at Atletico Madrid. But now we need to get the players that he wants in, his players he wants at his team. Because he's inherited a really bad team with a bad atmosphere. So he's done the hard work and he's been strong. Right? I mean, like Emery tried to be strong, and then he got mugged off by Ozil. Ozil won. So now what he's done, you can see he's not taking no fucking muppets. Guendouzi out the door. Saliba acts a bit of a clown. Got rid of him. Do you know what I mean? He ain't suffering the bullshit, which I like as a manager. I really do. I'd much prefer to see that than players taking the piss. So hopefully this summer he's got to be back though. Because that's the thing. There's no point in doing that if we don't go and buy the players he needs or wants. Because I still think it's criminal we didn't bring a left back in January. Very poor planning for a squad.
It was. I'm sure they were looking, but you know, maybe they just couldn't find one. But the other problem we've got is of course we're still in the middle of all this shit, and you know, I don't think there'll be fans back for anything except maybe you know the last home game, and even then it's like what 10,000 or something. So there's not going to be a great deal of money. Kroenke doesn't give the club money to spend. You know, people who think that are talking out of their fucking arse, to be fair. He doesn't give the club money to spend. You know, he'll release club funds. That's about it. And he's done a lot of that, and it's been spent badly. I mean, we've spent a huge chunk of money writing off contracts to get rid of some of these players over January and that, which was good news to get them out the door. So we're going to have to be smart again in the summer, and bar the players we've got on loan, I still think we need probably at least 4 to 5 players if you want a really, really good first 11 that is going to challenge for even top 4, to be honest, let alone challenge for a title and a European trophy. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and people just need to have a bit more perspective about it, I think. But it's football, isn't it? So asking people to be calm and rational about things is not really going to work.
No, fair enough. Right. I've been looking on the BBC website, so I know who the people who voted on the BBC website have voted for man of the match tonight. Charlie, who was yours?
I think, just to be honest with you, just because after what happened last week and the goals he's actually scored to put us through, I'm going to say Aubameyang.
Aubameyang was voted second. Mark, who do you think?
I'd have gone Saka or Tierney.
What? Go on, take a pick.
I would say Tierney, because I think without that goal, we were fucked. Excuse my language.
Yeah. No, on the BBC, I mean, I would have gone Saka, to be fair. Aubameyang basically was doing his job by being in the right place at the right time. That's why he's paid the big money to be there. Setting up is like a little bit more special.
Make it sound so simple, mate.
Charlie, if I was a foot taller and 10 seconds fast over 100 metres, mate, that would be me. Trust me.
Exactly that. If my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle. Lovely.
Tierney got man of the match, 7.99 in BBC. Aubameyang second and Saka third. Leicester next on Sunday, Charlie.
Lovely. This so it's going to be another tough game, that, isn't it?
We do well against Leicester, though.
Yeah, no. Do we know if Maddison's? Well, we haven't won up there for quite a while. Do we know if Maddison's there on Sunday night? I mean, it's a tough game. I mean, I think it's not a game that worries me that we go and get tonked, but it'd be tight. I think we've just got to take our chances. We have a lot of possession of the ball, and we just got to make sure we fucking keep an eye on Varda. He always scores against us, do you know what I mean? But I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win.
Mark?
Yeah, I'll say, given that we're in bloody Athens at the moment, and they've got a nice home game, which I believe they're playing at home in Leicester. I've got a little bit of a worry about that game, to be fair. So I'm going to say we'll get a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, they're so far 37 minutes gone, and they're 0-0 tonight and 0-0 on aggregate. So we've got to hope that stays as 0-0. And they time tonight. This is a funny one, right? Maddison didn't play the last game for Leicester, yeah? And it was reported that he weren't playing outside of the club. And the club put an inquiry in to why he wasn't playing. Anyway, it turned out there's some sort of fantasy football league that the players are in with a few fans, right? All the players knew he weren't playing and took him out the side, right? So everybody knew he weren't playing the next game. Which is, daft. Anyway, thank you for joining me, boys.
Cheers, guys.
Might try and put the tune on the end, just because Paul's going to rinse me whatever I do now anyway. Thanks for joining me. And we won, and we're through. And that's the bloody main thing, isn't it?
Lovely.
Definitely, mate. Up the arse.
Up the Arsenal. Let's go. See if this works. It might work. We never know. No, it's not going to work, is it?